All right. I see a lot of people are logging in today because this is going to be an amazing webinar all about technology, which is something that we can all learn from. So we hope that you're going to take back a lot of great tips with you today. I'm going to give everybody again just a minute to get all logged in. But as you guys know, my name is Ginger. I am the Executive Director of Connectionology, and we have a lot of great things coming up. If you've had a moment to look at our website, you'll see that we've got 3 seminars coming up. Nashville, which is going to be our TBI seminar, is going to be amazing. So if you have not registered, go ahead and get in there now before the rooms sell out, and look at all the great things that we have going on, including the agenda. And then we've got Hawaii coming up in June, and then we're doing Fort Worth, Texas in September. All great topics, and we're going to have a good time. And then I've got even more webinars that I'll be adding to our website for the remainder of this month. And then, of course, April is gearing up to be very good as well. If you guys have questions about technology today, we want this to be conversational. So be sure to put those questions in the Q&A box or the chat box. And it could be about anything related to technology, because we have a genius with us today, you guys. His name's Justin Kahn. Mikayla's going to introduce him in just a moment. Later on, you're also going to meet our great partners at HMR, OnPoint, and Fox-AE. We rave about these companies because they are that good. We love working with their teams. So you're going to hear all about them. But for now, let me go ahead and introduce our wonderful moderator today. Her name is Mikayla Taylor, and she actually works with John Romano and the Romano Law Group down in West Palm Beach. And she focuses her practice on representing plaintiffs in a wide variety of personal injury and catastrophic injury cases. And that includes auto negligence, wrongful death, product liability, as well as medical malpractice. So if you guys are working on any of these type of cases, feel free to reach out to her. And before joining the firm, she actually gained a lot of experience working for both the plaintiffs and the defense firms. So she's got a lot of that knowledge and experience working with them on the other side, and then bringing over her experience to the plaintiff side as well. And that has been able to help her get such a well-rounded perspective in her practice, including that she also graduated from Florida State University, and she has a bachelor's in criminology. And then prior to obtaining her Juris Doctorate degree from the Florida State University College of Law in Tallahassee, she has all of that experience. And then during law school, she held a lot of leadership roles, including the Black Law Students Association. She also performed a role for the Journal of Land Use and Environmental Law as well. And she focused a lot of her energy in competing with her school's prestigious trial team. She's also locally involved in a lot of great organizations like Palm Beach County Justices Association, the Florida Justice Association, and a lot of other great local county bars, as well as national bars. And you've probably seen her on a lot of our webinars because we love having her. So Mikayla, I can't wait to see you and Justin go back and forth today. I can't wait to hear all the questions from our attendees. And I hope everybody gains a lot from this. You're probably gonna have as much as fun as I am. So enjoy the webinar, everybody.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Ginger. I, in particular, am really excited today to be moderating this webinar because I am really a little bit of a geek when it comes to technology. So I'm just as excited to learn all about that as you guys probably are. And with that, I'm really excited to introduce our speaker today. So today you'll be hearing from Justin Kahn. He's a civil litigator with the Kahn Law Firm, LLP in Charleston, South Carolina. And he handles professional liability, torts, product liability, contracts, and all kinds of other matters as well. He's practiced in state and federal courts throughout the country, so very, very well-rounded when it comes to that. Justin is AV rated and is board certified in medical malpractice by the American Board of Professional Liability Attorneys, where he also serves on the board. He's also board certified by the National Board of Trial Advocacy as a civil trial advocate, as well as in civil pretrial practice advocacy. He's also a diplomat with the National College of Advocacy and American Association of Justice, and he's certified by the South Carolina Supreme Court as a civil circuit court mediator. Justin is an adjunct professor of law as well at the Charleston School of Law, where he teaches pretrial practice. He authored the South Carolina Rules Annotated and the South Carolina Rules of Evidence Annotated, published by the South Carolina Bar CLE Division. He's also written, lectured, and taught throughout the country on a variety of topics, including advocacy, procedure, evidence, ethics, technology, and persuasion. He's a member of various legal professional organizations, including the American Association for Justice, American Bar Association, South Carolina Association for Justice, and he's a permanent member of the Fourth Circuit Judicial Conference. Justin is admitted to practice before the United States Supreme Court, the United States Second Circuit, Third Circuit, and Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, the United States Court of Federal Claims, the United States District Court for the District of South Carolina, and the South Carolina Supreme Court. He received his bachelor's from Tulane University in psychology and a bachelor's in communications in 1988, and he received his Juris Doctorate from the University of South Carolina School of Law in 1992. Justin is married and the proud parent of 3 children, and if that was not enough for you, when he's not practicing or teaching law, he loves to perform magic tricks on the side. So with that, Justin, I'll pass it over to you.
I've got my bill due for the International Brotherhood of Magicians that's due. I got to pay that. Welcome. Today's seminar is going to try to address at least 3 kinds of apps: Microsoft Word, Adobe Acrobat, and presentation software like Keynote. If you have questions, drop them in the webinar chat, and Mikayla will try to alert me to the ones that she thinks are most relevant at the time. I have some topics that I know I want to cover, but in my experience in the past, when I start talking about technology, it will prompt a question or idea or some issue that might pop up that you're dealing with. So just let us know. It's not a big deal. It's not going to interrupt the flow of anything, I don't think. One of the things that people have been asking about is ChatGPT. So I thought I'd pull that up real quick and just let you see that as an example real quick. And then let me pull that up real quick and then show you all how it might work. So this is, I've logged into ChatGPT, and it's, you have to be a member, or not member, you have to apply for membership, kind of not quite membership. You have to apply to have access to it, and you can pay additional money for it. But basically, once you log in, you can ask it a question. So for example, how about, what would a motion to compel, and I really have no idea what it's going to say. How about this? What should a motion to compel address for a court when seeking sanctions? Now, I've put that in, and this is in real time. This is not without me touching anything. And you see it's generating a pretty good outline. Can you all see that? Mikayla, you see it?
Yes, I can see that. And ChatGPT is something I don't even think most people have heard of at this point, but the fact that it's writing a motion for you in real time, or at least pulling out points, is insane.
I mean, I've made up a topic, and as y'all can see, it did a decent job, at least as a starting basis for ChatGPT is some kind of AI. It's artificial intelligence. It's supposed to be some sort of chat bot something, but it's been developed into much more. You can ask it all kinds of questions about anything from, well, you can just see, I just typed in a completely random topic. How about this? How to make a ham sandwich. So here's the answer. Did I spell it right? I didn't spell it right. Yeah, load fail. All right, there you go. Regenerate. Let me try to do a different one. I got to spell it right. Regenerate response. You can also see in real time. Oh, here's a simple recipe for making a ham sandwich. And it's generating the instructions. So y'all can see in real time, it's an incredible potential tool. And in real time, how do you make a ham sandwich? And I misspelled it, and it still figured out what I was talking about, told me what the ingredients were, and then the instructions. So this is an artificial intelligence app or API, I guess, that's being developed. and is being they have different levels. You can actually pay to have faster access to some things, but a lot of talk has been generated about what ChatGPT does and how students might be using it to write papers. So for example, and this will be the last thing, let's say how about write a paper on Mark Twain. So within about 4 seconds, it's going to generate a response. Oh, load fail. Now you can see again, this real time. Okay, Mark Twain was born. So I've asked it to write a paper about Mark Twain, and it is doing that. So that's pretty amazing. Anyway, so that's enough of that. But you can see he's going to go through, talk about where he's born, and that was without major prompting. Now there's actually somebody who I can't remember if he's with Yale or somewhere else who's developing. I won't call it an anti-chat GPT, but it's designed for teachers to be able to review the students' work to figure out if it's likely that it was developed or created by a bot as opposed to the student. But you can see no hands. I just asked it to, what was my question? Write a paper on Mark Twain. It's in real time, it's writing this paper. So that's a pretty decent review of whatever it is. So that's Chat GPT in real time. You can do a Google search, get there. You try to log in. I don't know if you still have to wait in line to be to have access to it or not, but once you have access, you can do stuff like that. So that's Chat GPT. I wanted to cover that because some of the people were having questions about how that works. Let's talk about Microsoft Word for a moment before we start covering some other things. One of the things that I think lawyers who spend a bunch of time dealing with Microsoft Word need to do is to get more familiar with the layout of the app, because there's all kinds of shortcuts that are built into it that they may not be familiar with. One of the things is in terms of the layout. Now I'm using a Mac. The PC version might have some slight variations, but overall, conceptually, what I'm trying to show you are some of these things. I think it's Chat GPT, but whatever it is, somebody was asked about that. It is what it is. Let me ask Chat GPT what it is. But anyway, so one of the things that I think is helpful is sometimes when you're working on a Word document and it's hard to see, there's a slider down here at the bottom that you can zoom in and out to make it easier for you to see when you're typing information. One of the things that's also, I think, helpful when you are trying to focus on working on a paper, instead of having all these different apps and things around you that are distracting, if you click on this focus mode, it gets rid of all this stuff and you can zoom in and just focus on typing whatever it is you want to type without a whole bunch of other interference from other apps that are catch your eye or other kinds of mail or something else. So you can just focus directly on what you are trying to work on. So I think having it in focus mode is helpful. You can hit escape and then you're back out of it. And you can change some of the background of focus mode. So when you're here, you can do things like, you can change the background to like a wood-like background. So if you're more Zen, you can do that. But I wanted to show that because sometimes when you are trying to focus on working on a paper, it can be very distracting to have all these various tools around, and you're so focused on picking the font size, a font selection, color, and all these other things that could be distracting. So try using focus mode to help you focus on writing your brief. A couple of things that people that have asked about, sometimes they'll ask about, is there dictation software available for the Mac or PC? Let me turn on my tool so you can see where I am. One of the things that this app has available to it, built in, at least with, is this dictation right here. So I can actually, you put your cursor where you want to be, and if you're a person who's used to dictating, you can click right here. Now I'm going to click and then I'm going to talk, and you'll see what happens. This is a test, period. I want to see if Microsoft can capture the words I'm using accurately and completely, period, new paragraph. So there you go. It's now you may have to, I think for those of you who notice the formatting error, it's because I've got it in a style formatting. Let me try it here let me try it one more time. I am now typing outside of a style. Let's see if it correctly changes the formatting, period. All right, so you can see that worked better. When we'll talk about styles in a moment. The reason why it typed this particular style incorrectly is because it was in a style, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But you can see when you just want to type something orally, that is, dictate something, Microsoft built into the software is this dictation function that's pretty good. So that's an example of using the dictation tool within Microsoft. One of the things that I'm trying to get rid of a tool, and I got rid of. Y'all can't see me selecting tools from let me put it over here, from Zoom. I'm just trying to, it's in my way when I'm trying to talk to y'all, but let's see if I can do this. All right. So one of the, man. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. So now a couple of the other tools available to you along the top, you may or may not have played with that I think are helpful. So let's just create a new document real quick and we'll start over. So typically you've got these various selections or options available to you to modify the document as you type. Things like, I'm just going to put in something real quick. So let's say I put in some real quick text and you want to tweak it. Let's say you want to italicize this. Normally you double click to select it. And if you want to italicize it, you can do that with, on the Mac, it's Command I, on the PC, I think it's Windows I. So they're very quick ways to italicize things and modify them. If you want to change the overall font of something, you can do a drop down right here and change it to something like Century Schoolbook, and it automatically changes the font. As you work on a paper, you can go through and laboriously change all these different pieces of your document. I want to suggest to you that if you are routinely filing certain kinds of documents with the court, to develop a set of styles to allow you to make these changes very quickly and not have to go through the document each time to make these individual sort of granular changes. And I'll give you a specific example of what I'm talking about. If I have a template called, these are various templates I've made. Someone do in federal court, I've made this template right here called Memo for Federal Court Times New Roman. If I double click on it, this is a template that I've previously saved, so it automatically opens it up so I can populate it with the name of the plaintiff, defendant, and it's already, I can put in the civil action number, which division I'm in South Carolina, and so on. And it's got this table of contents, which I'm going to talk about because I think it's a powerful tool. Most attorneys, when they are drafting memos, do not think about, for the trial level, using a table of contents. I'm going to try to talk you into doing that because it's so easy to do. And I think it can be a persuasive tool to help convince the judge why you're right. And we'll go through how you can create that. So I've got this template and we'll go through and do a couple things and modify it. Let's assume I'm going to do it some memorandum supportive motion to compel. I'm going to make up right now, instead of putting in real reasons, I want to just drop in some magic. It's just some fake language, just so it'll populate with some stuff, and you'll see in real time how we can now play around with that and what these different levels represent. So what I've done is this. Let me back it out a little bit. So let's say you've got your brief that's done and you want to modify and point out to the judge certain pieces of your brief with headers. And these things right here are called, I call them headers. Under the style panes, they're different headings. So we have a top level heading. And if you look over to the right, it shows you what it's going to look like. For each of these kinds of, and these are different styles that you can change. So we have the second level style. If I click on it, watch over here to the right, what happens. So if I click at this level where it says 1.1, that's actually something called heading 2. And over to the right, you see all these different styles. I'm going to talk about the power of styles in a moment, but I just want you to see how where you click on a document shows you which style you're currently working with. So if I click within the body of the text, this is now the style body text. Okay, it's just picking up on spelling errors because it's a bunch of Latin stuff. So if I click right here, this is called body text. That is the style. And if you look up here, you see it's Times New Roman 14-point font. If I click right here in the heading 2, it's still 14-point font. Let's say I like overall the way this document looks. And by the way, if you look right here real quick, the table of contents, you see how it mirrors what these various headings are. So I can actually tell the table of contents, I can cause it to auto-generate a table of contents. So for example, I've got right here, concise summary of the nature of the case. Let's say I want to say concise nature of the case. So I get rid of this. Notice this part hasn't changed yet. If I go to second level, instead of calling it second level, I'll call it facts supporting motion. All right, so right now at the top, where it's got the second level, it doesn't say facts supporting motion, and concise nature of the case is not there. If I right click within this table of contents area, I can update that field, and I'll show you how to generate that in a moment. So you'll see what happens. See how it automatically captured the language that appears in this heading, and it transfers it up to the table of contents. So now very quickly, you can generate a table of contents for a 20 or 30 page brief without you having to go back and forth and trying to copy and paste the various language that you've got. And in real time, it automatically captures which page it's on and so on. Does that make sense, Mikayla? I just want to make sure, because it helps me to have, there's no sense of feedback. I can't look at the audience and see if people are going, what the hell, what are you talking about or not?
Yeah,
So
that makes perfect sense.
So now let's say, for example, thank you. Let's say, for example, now that for whatever reason, instead of having this, this heading right here, heading 2, let's say you decide, you know what, I think it will look better if it is in bold. Well, you got a choice. I can double click here and do Command B and make it bold. But then every time heading 1.1 or that level of heading appears, I'll drop this here and I select heading 2. See, it automatically does the indenting and everything for you. So this is a test heading. So if I select right here and I go over and I say I want it to be this style of heading, it automatically generates it in the proper way. And we'll get into that in a moment. But now what happens is, let's say every time this heading appears, I want the first level heading, this heading 2, to appear throughout the document bold. I have to now go through the entire document and change it. Or what I can do is come over here to the heading and I'm going to modify the style. So what I'm telling it is from now on for heading 2, instead of Times New Roman 14-point font, I want it to be bold. So I click on the B, all the headings at heading level 2 will now be bold. Let's say I also want to, let's just see if I can find, let's change it to Arial font for whatever reason. I hit OK, it automatically changes throughout the brief that level of heading to match. Well, this is because let's see what heading 2 to match the modified font pre-selection. So basically what I've done is taken a bunch of the way the font will look, whether I want it to be bold, italicized, underlined, whatever I can do up here granularly, I can choose a series of styles to impose every time I select something and want it to be that particular heading. I don't know if that English sounded right. So let's just do another example. So you can see right here where I'm at the third level of this heading, and I want to modify that style to now always have that heading. I'm just going to click on it, make it bold. So it shows you an example of what it's going to look like. And you can also change things like how far it's going to indent and some other things, or how you want the numbering. Like here, I've got the numbering to be this particular style right here. You can make it letters if you prefer it that way, if that's the way your court has it, and so on. But let's say you also want to change the paragraphs. So you want to adjust how far it indents. So every time, so let's say I make this 1.2. So you see how this moves at the same time. So now every time I select text to be this heading style, it will now be bold, Times New Roman. I'm just going to make it, let's make it 16. So from now on, if I hit OK, you see how it automatically changes that heading 3's style to have a certain kind of look. So wherever I put in the document, heading, test, real important argument, whatever it is. So now if I come in front of it and tell Word, I want it to be this particular heading style. If I click on it, then it will do that one. If I heading 3 will do that one. So you can very quickly generate these kinds of styles, including this text that you've got the document in. If you click on this, that's body text. Let's say I want to change, right now it's Times New Roman 14. From now on, every time I type text, which is going to be part of the body of the brief, I want it to be something else. I can modify that style, and let's say your rule requires it to be 12-point font, Times New Roman, and single space, just making up something. And you hit OK. From now on, it automatically changes all of the text that is associated with body text style into what you've just changed it, without you having to go through that entire brief and granularly changing all these different pieces. Does that make sense? And hopefully that's helpful to somebody. But once you've done that, you then right-click up here, hit Update Field, and it's going to automatically generate those various heading styles and capture them here as part of your table of contents. So let me show you how you, assuming you've created these various styles and these typed in these headings, what you can do is I'll show you how you generate a table of contents.
And Justin, before you get into that, because I don't want to get too far away from it, I think earlier you touched on autofill or auto-populate. Did you auto-populate this paragraph by typing the first word?
Yes,
I don't know why it never occurred to me you could do that. I do that on my phone with text messages, but it never occurred to me to. So you can type in, you can set it to type in PL and it can autofill plaintiff, for example.
Correct. Now you want to be careful. Let's talk about a couple different ways to do that. You want to be careful about using phrases that you always use. So if you have it auto-populate, if let's say you type in PL and you want it to say plaintiff, well, PL could also be the start of play, plagiarism, I don't know what other kinds of words. So you want to pick a series of word or letters that is unique. So for example, if I want to quickly type my email, I type in EML, which is not part of any word. Oops. Of course, it doesn't work now that we're on Zoom. Normally it would spit out, I've got a different app that'll handle that for me. So it will automatically spit out that text, my email address. So like if you have a Rule 11 thing, like there's a Rule 11 one I just did. I just typed in RU11. So it automatically—
It's going to save so much time. Wow.
Right now, depending on, there are different ways you can do that auto, I'll call it autocomplete. Built in, I can't remember if it's, now also just so I want everybody to feel, one of my goals is in talking about technology is I do not know it all. I don't pretend to know it all, but I'm comfortable with that. And I think to myself, how can I find the answer? And then I implement it. I don't get all worried about it. So one of the things I'm thinking about right now is autocomplete. Is that something within Word itself? Is that something built into the operating system, and so on? So let's just look at autocomplete. One of the things you can do in Word, you click on the help, and I want to type in auto. There it is, auto text. So there's something right here for auto text. So we go to insert auto text. We're going to click on this, and now this thing pops up that allows you to create kinds of text. So, oh wait, auto format as you type. I can't remember where it is. There's an auto. I'll figure out where it is. I know there's a place where you can type these things in, where you can put in simple things. Well, here's one. What's this? WSC.
I think you can do autocorrect. If you go back there, it had what you type and what it would correct it to. That might be a little hack to do that.
Yeah, what I've done is, because I've got it at the operating system level on the Mac, what I do is under system settings, I got to find it real quick. I think I put under text. I know I've got it as I can't, like right now, I can't remember where it is. Somewhere there is a auto completion, and I've got let's see, keyboard. Maybe it's keyboards. Keyboard. If I can't find it, maybe at a break I'll find it. I know there's a way to have it drop in to I will find it. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I know I've got somewhere, I've got the ability to auto generate the text. I don't remember where it is off the top of my head. Thanks for throwing me out completely off. No, but
Sorry
the
about
point
that.
is,
I just found that so interesting.
no, you can do it. And you saw I was typing it. I just can't remember where it is on the,
We're getting some suggestions in the chat box too. So yeah, maybe on a break, if you can clarify that, or if anybody had any questions, they can shoot you an email.
yeah,
after.
I have it. But I know the point is that there are these, I know that they're available to you, but when you pick these tools or pick these shortcuts, you want to make sure they don't line up with English words. So that if you type in, like your example of PL for plaintiff, you're going to have a problem every time you type in PL, it's going to automatically spit out plaintiff when you meant to type a different word. So
Gotcha.
when you,
Okay.
I know there's a tool available for this, and I'm sure somebody's going to find it, but so again,
Before
you
we
just
get
saw my,
back to your table of contents, I think Ginger wanted to bring in some sponsors.
sure. So let me just pop this in real quick. So like, here's an example. I'm gonna type in RU11. It automatically spits that out. So somewhere, I just can't remember where, I've automatically created that as a quick auto populate something. And I think I even have, let's see if this is right, ADDRR. Somewhere I've got my address the same way. All right, so table of contents. Let's say you want to generate the table of contents. You've got the documents the way you want it to be. Then up here, you're going to go to insert, and there's this thing called table somewhere, index and tables. Now, what I did was I put the cursor right where I want it to be, so you can pick these different kinds of things. I want to put it in a table of contents, and you have different ways that they're going to look, right? So you can choose different ones, and you can make your own. But let's just say from template, I hit OK, and it literally automatically generates the table of contents based on how you have created these various headings. So it's literally that fast to generate a table of contents for your briefs. And I think that's an incredibly helpful, powerful tool to provide it to the court, because it allows the judge very quickly to just look at the table of contents. And to the extent you can name your heading items based on your arguments, then the judge can very quickly go through your arguments right here and understand where you're going and either agree with you or say, hold on a second, I want to know more about this particular topic, and go to page 2. So I'll stop sharing and let Ginger talk with the sponsors, and I'll try to figure out where that auto text thing is.
Yeah, I think this is so cool, Justin. I'm like already like blown away. Are you available for hire, by the way, to come out to some of these court cases? All right, guys, I am so excited because we actually have Kim with us with OnPoint today. I'm so happy to have her back. I am so impressed and continue to be impressed over the years of working with everyone that works there on their team and all the incredible nurses. But Kim is going to share with you guys a little bit more about what they specialize in. And Kim, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Ginger. It's always a pleasure to be here, and it's good to see you as well. Just to tell you a little bit about us, OnPoint is a legal nurse consulting and full litigation support firm, and we've been helping attorneys for close to 30 years now on any cases involving illness and injury. So there's 5 key areas that we can assist you with. We all know how difficult it is to find what you need in the records. So we have a team of nurses that will organize the records for you, index them, and return them OCR'd, which is searchable. For a consulting program, perhaps you're getting bogged down with some complex cases, or your paralegals could use some help. The nurses in our consulting program have a lot of experience helping attorneys, and they make the complex information simple. And they do this with our timelines and our chronologies that include our unique case analysis, which identifies strengths and weaknesses, as well as missing records, systems failures, red flags, and possible defense strategies. We can also identify the impact of pre-existing conditions, and we can differentiate between new versus aggravated injuries. I should also note that we try to match the legal nurse consultant's skills to the type of case that it is. For our geriatrics and long-term care program, we assist with anything long-term care related, simple thumbs up, thumbs down merit screens, to specialized experts who are familiar with those standards of care. And our program director, Ingrid, who's been on these webinars, is a clinical geriatric specialist with over 30 years in that industry. Our expert witness program provides fresh well-rounded experts in any specialty needed. They are all clinically active and located nationwide. There's no cost or risk to you for us to search for the right expert. And we can also have a discussion with you to help you determine what is the best expert for your case. For damages, we excel with our quantifying damages with our life care plans, our medical cost projections, which are a lower cost option, and our billing review and analysis. For non-economic damages, our pain and suffering analysis really helps to tell the client's story. It quantifies what the client experiences: loss of freedom, loss of mobility, pain. We pull all that information out of the records for you to expand upon. And I should note that the program directors in each of our program, they're all registered nurses who have practiced clinically, so they're familiar with standards of care. So our goals are to make sure you're not blindsided, to simplify the medicine and avoid surprises. We're accessible, easy to work with. You can email me directly, and you can also submit information through our website on the Contact Us page. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Kim. And I'm glad that you brought up the point that you guys work with pain and suffering, because we just launched, John developed this incredible webinar series that's starting April 4th, 5th, and 6th, and it's on our website right now. We're adding a few more speakers to those, but we do have Lisa Mancuso, who's part of OnPoint, speaking on our very first one. She's incredible. So her knowledge is going to be very useful during that webinar. And if you guys have seen John lately, he is on fire with this pain and suffering. I have heard nothing but great things about it, and we have a lot of really great things coming up regarding that. So be sure to sign up and tell everybody that you guys know this is going to be good. But thank you, Kim. Please put your information in the chat box so everybody can stay in touch with you. And I hope you come back very soon, okay?
Thanks, Ginger.
All right, now it's my pleasure. I don't know how in the world we were able to swing this, but we got Ted Mullis back in the house today, and he's usually here to do the coffee giveaways. He will be back at the end of this webinar to do that, but today he's going to share with you guys all the great things that HMR does. So thanks for coming in today again, Ted. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, so it's twice in a week, so I'm pretty excited. So I'm filling in for Taylor today. We just wanted to kind of go through what HMR does. So we specialize in 3 core types of funding. So the first is medical funding, in which we provide funding for people who are uninsured, underinsured to get the treatment that they need. Firms come to us when their clients have experienced traumatic brain injuries, amputations, severe spine injuries, and other catastrophic injuries. And they need treatment, but they can't afford it. So we act as that bridge so people can get the treatment that they need as their case is going on. We also provide pre-settlement funding. So in many instances, your injured plaintiff can no longer pay for their necessities like bills, groceries, and things of that nature. So we can step in and provide pre-settlement funding in these cases to help them make ends meet while you work to get them the justice they deserve. And last but not least, we offer case cost funding for attorneys themselves. So this covers litigation costs that come with working up cases for trial. So it could be anything from a life care planner to having an expert testify at trial, demonstrative aids, accident reconstruction. Case in point are the excellent services provided by our friends at OnPoint and Fox-AE. You just heard OnPoint, and Fox-AE will be on later on in this webinar. We could help you pay for their important work. So we're one of the few companies out there that are doing case cost funding on a single case basis. So instead of having to pledge your entire portfolio of cases, we look at these cases on a single event basis. So that allows you to retain these experts that are ultimately going to help you prove your case without having to put up your entire portfolio as collateral. We've been doing this across the country for over 10 years, and we have representatives from the West Coast to the East Coast and many points in between. So I hope that if you have a personal injury case that you need help with, that you'll think of HMR. We're your one-stop shop for all your litigation funding needs. So Ginger, Mikayla, and Justin, I really appreciate your time, and thanks for having me here.
Thank you so much, Ted. You did a great job explaining all the good things that HMR does. And like I said, we think the world of you guys. You're doing such good work and helping out in so many different areas. So I urge anybody watching to save the information that Ted's going to put in the chat box so you can contact them and just reach out if you have any questions. They can help you.
Yeah, we'd be
Thanks for
happy
being
to-
here, Ted. See you back here in a little bit for the big coffee giveaway.
Sounds good.
For now, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it back to Justin and Mikayla.
All right, during the break, I found a couple of things I was looking for. I'd actually set up a couple things. So let me show y'all how to do some of these auto text things. I'd already come up with some slides. So let me first do, let me share the screen. All right, so what I actually have a slide on keyboard shortcuts, which I had forgotten about. So on the Mac, at least, and I assume there's a similar kind of thing with the PC. Here's how you get to some of those, I'll call it system-wide changes. So if you think about your computer as being a series of almost like Venn diagrams, so you're running an application, you may have the ability just within that application to have a text shortcut that's specific to that application, or at a higher level, you want it to apply no matter what application you are in to have that text shortcut. So at least on the Mac, you can create what I'll call these high-level text shortcuts that should then apply to any time, whether you're doing an email or using Word or something else, it'll automatically create these shortcuts. So at least on the Mac, if you go on the system settings and then you go to system preferences, I'm just trying to read right, it's right here. So I want to go to keyboard. So then I go to text. So somewhere there's text, and then then I can hit these replacement things. So I can hit text replacements. So you can create a series of, you can add a new one, you replace, like Mikayla was saying something about PL. I wouldn't do PL, but let's say you want to replace something like TTD with things to do. Right? So I want to add that. So now it's created this, which we'll see if it works, but theoretically, now every time I type, what I don't remember is if I have to restart my computer, and obviously if I do that, then I log out of the Zoom call, so I won't do it. But so theoretically now, let's see what happens if I type that in and go to Word, and now put in TTD. Nah, of course it doesn't work. Let me try something with text. Oops. One of the ones well, let me just open up text edit. Let's see if it's on the Mac and a built-in app. Let's see if it works. This file new. Let's see if it works within TTD. Yeah, there it goes. So I know when I'm in an Apple app, you see how this automatically popped up things to do. If I select it, then it pops that in. So for some reason right now, Microsoft Word is either ignoring what I'll call the top level auto text change, or something's going on. So here's some other ones. If I type in EML, it automatically turns it into my email address. If I type in RU11, it automatically puts in that. So you can put in these, I'll call high-level changes, text replacement. So I've got a whole series of them. Like this is one I use sometimes for a rejection letter. So capital REJ. I hit return and it automatically spits out, we must advise you based upon our farm, blah, 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 blah. So here's a rule 5. I don't even know what RU5 means. Let's see. So if I put an RU5, it automatically pops in that. So that's, I guess that's the mailing thing. So that goes to answering Mikayla's question, I think, about how you can do that at a top level, and it may be granular level for certain apps. That's just a real quick way to do it. The whole point is play around with it and try to find these things because they can save you all kinds of time. So now let me, I want to go back into Word for a couple of reasons to show you a couple of things, and then we're going to go into Adobe Acrobat. This is a memo I filed in a case I got in North Carolina. Sometimes when you work on a brief, you see all these kinds of these markups where there's all this stuff on the side. Let me pull up my annotation tool so you can see. So you've got all the stuff on the side that is within the document itself that you don't want the court or other side to see. So you can do this thing called track changes, so that as you make changes, let's say you're passing a brief around the office to review, or back and forth between you and your paralegal, or you can do track changes to see what the various changes someone makes are, and then either accept them or not, and see how the briefs are developed over time. A lot of times people get very confused and go to print this, and they've got all this crap on the side, and obviously you don't want to file it with the court that way, and they don't know how to get rid of it. So basically under review, where it says track changes, you go to no markup. You don't want to say original, that'll be before you made changes. So you just go to no markup, and now it's just showing you the document without all those marked up things, so that you can just review the document as is. That doesn't mean it's not buried in the metadata somewhere. It is, but now it's just not visible. So that when you go to print it or file it in that kind of way, it won't appear. The other thing that, so this is an example of just having the brief with I wanted to show you the markup. The other thing that I think people don't necessarily do, or may not understand that they can do, is dropping pieces of documents or photos into a Word document. So let's just show an example of that real quick. Let's say you've got some either demand letter or something you're doing for the court that you want to submit. Then you want to drop into it an image. So whatever reason you want to drop in this image of Bill Gates mugshot. Now you've dropped into, and this is just a regular Word document. So, you've got whatever kind of text sitting there, and you want to show the judge this particular image. A lot of people don't know that within Word itself, you can do all kinds of things to this particular image without having to go to a third-party app. So if you double click on the item you've dropped in there, and all I did was double click on it, formatting picture appears, and there are all these different tabs or tools that you have available to you to act on the image that you have dropped in there. So one of the things, for example, is a line. So let's say you want to put a line around your image because you want to emphasize that. So you can click on, for example, a solid line. Let's say you want the color of the line to be, whatever reason, yellow, and you want it to be a big width. So now that yellow line appears around the image for emphasis. Now let's say we want to crop this image and get rid of all this black stuff around the outside. We can right click and then click on crop. So when I do that, these little handles appear. It allows me to drag the handles to, let's say, this area right here. And I can do the same thing on this side. Same thing from down here. And same thing from above. So basically, I've trimmed. So I click outside of it. Now I've gotten rid of all that stuff around the image that may be distracting or irrelevant. So I just wanted to show people that, because that's a tool that I think is often overlooked, that you have the ability to drop into your document images, pictures of text, or parts of somebody's brief or something you've downloaded from the web that you want to easily drop into the document. And there's a way that you can adjust the image to make it more visible or clearer for the court to see. So, and you've got some other things where you can actually modify, like picture corrections and colors. You can actually change some things about, now it's not the best image app, but it does allow you to at least modify some images if they don't look exactly right. You can change some settings just by clicking on it and going to the picture corrections. So you can change all kinds of things. So the point is that within Word itself, you can modify images you drop into it to help make them clearer and more visible to the court. And as you see, one of the things you notice, when you click a particular object up here, the tools that are available to you change. So as soon as I click on a picture, the picture format tool and all these different choices appear. If I click over here on text, then just the options related to text appear. So depending on what you click on, different tools may become available to you. I think that's what I was going to try to cover with Word. Let me go into tools. Oh, let's go into Adobe Acrobat real quick. So let's say sometimes you get a document. Here I am in Adobe Acrobat itself, and I'll walk through some of the tools that are available to you, or some of the interface tools that are available. But oftentimes somebody may have scanned in a document or an image to you that is not oriented in the way you want it to be. So if you click on there's these disclosures on each side of the newest version of Adobe Acrobat Professional. This is not the free reader program. This is one you pay for. You have these disclosure triangles, which allow you to see various tools that are available to you on the right, or on the left, certain other kinds of navigation tools. So if you click on this one, which looks like a little page icon, if you click on that, then these thumbnail images of the page right here appear. And you can hover right here and drag this to the left and right to change how much of the image of the page you are seeing here. But if you notice, this image is, you want it to be rotated to the right 90 degrees because right now it is not completely visible. So you have a couple different ways to rotate an image or part of a page of the PDF. You can see here, both pages of this PDF are rotated to the left by 90 degrees, and you want them to be to the right. So if you select a particular image, you have a couple tools available to you. You can rotate it to the left right here. This left arrow indicates rotating counterclockwise, which is not the most helpful right now. But if you keep clicking on it, it will eventually take you to the correct orientation. And the same thing with this page. So you want it to be to the right one way. Now you notice how they operated on each individual page slightly differently. If you select both pages, let's say you want to, and you hold down Command and you select them both, and you hit left, it rotates both pages at the same time. So as many pages as you select, this tool will operate on all the pages the same way. So that's something that's real quick and easy to do. Something else, let's just look at this top page. If we look at it, we have extra, this is from a newspaper in Charleston, I don't even remember how long ago. One of the things that's going on is you see that this one page right here, it looks like you want to crop it or get rid of some extra of this space all around it. So you can do that. Before we do that, one of the things is that I'd like to be able to see that page in full size. Right now, it's sort of hard to see. I'm seeing both pages. I'd rather just zoom in. So at least on the Mac, you can pinch to zoom. And there's some other tools you can do to, let's see if I can open it up. So I have these tools once I open it up because of the way my screen size is right now. You have these other tools that are available to you. So if I click on the minus button, it backs away and it puts the images further away of each page. I can click on it to make it bigger. So right here, you see this 80%. Let's say I want it to be fit the width of the document, of the page itself. It will now fit that one page. I tend to like the actual, if you want to look at the actual size, that would be the actual size of that particular page. So I want to back out just a little bit. We're going to use some of the tools available to or in Adobe Acrobat. We saw cropping images in Word. Adobe Acrobat has similar tools as well. So let's say I want to get rid of all this extra stuff around the outside of this document, of this page, because I want to literally crop it. So imagine the old paper cropper where you got the big handle and you chop. So I'm going to select this tool right here, which is this crop tool, and do that. For those of you who are using Adobe Acrobat and you're not familiar with all the tools, and you say to yourself, I want to cut this page, but I don't remember where that tool is. One of the nice features about Adobe Acrobat is built into the tools is when you click on this disclosure triangle, you see these various tools. Acrobat has many more tools. So if you click on search tools and you say to yourself, I want to crop it, but I just don't remember where that is. If you start typing CROP, it automatically presents to you the various tools that are available to perform the action that you're looking for. So now you click on it and it automatically presents you with and selects that crop tools feature for you. So in Adobe Acrobat, at least when you're trying to remember where something is and you can't, let's say, for example, you want to rotate the page and you can't remember where that is. You just type in the word rotate, it'll automatically present to you what it thinks is the kind of tool you're looking for to allow you to then act on it. So, and we'll get to Bates numbers in a second. So here's an example. If you want to, you say to yourself, I want to add a Bates number, but where the hell is that tool? You can type in search on the top right, and Acrobat will present you with a shortcut to that tool so that when you select it, it automatically presents you with that option. Let's do crop real quick and then we'll get to Bates. So we want to get rid of all this extra space around what has been scanned in. Here's the crop tool that I've put up at the top. So I'm going to click on it and now it presents you with sort of this crosshairs thing. So I'm going to click and hold and drag to the right to select the area I want to keep, not get rid of. So everything outside of this box will be cropped away and gotten rid of. So I've now selected this area, so everything within this box will stay. Let's say I want to make a slight adjustment. I can hold it and drag it to have it just the way I want. I'm going to hit the return, and it's going to show me what will happen should I hit return. And it's showing me that, hey, look, as to this page, we're going to be getting rid of everything outside of it, and all the stuff in the blue is going to be gone. If every single one of your pages of the PDF has the same issue, that is, somebody has scanned it in and every single page has this extra space around it, you can tell Acrobat to apply that cut to every single page within the PDF. Here we don't want to do that because we can see down here that this page is not the same way. So we're just going to say from 1 to 1, which is just this one page, and we're going to hit OK. And now it's cut all that extra stuff from around the edge of that page. Let's say we want to do the same thing here. We want to crop this page as well. So again, we've got the crop tool, drag, and hit that. Oops. Now hit return, and I'm going to crop it. So now we've done that, and we've sort of trimmed both pages to make them more readable, and we can now save this PDF. Let's talk about OCR real quick. Right now, your human eyes can read the letter R-O-P-E-R. Acrobat cannot. Right now, in the state it's in, it's treating this page as an image of this particular one of just black and white space. You can tell Adobe Acrobat, I want to be able to read the words contained in this page. Help me out with that. So the way you do that is do something called OCR. I think I heard one of the sponsors mention a moment ago the idea of OCR. OCR stands for Optical Character Recognition. So if you click right here into Search Tools and you say OCR, and I want to tell it to recognize the text. And so here are the various settings we want to be. This is in English. We're going to tell it to do all the pages. I'm going to click on Recognize Text. And as I do that, what Adobe Acrobat is going to do is go through and try to figure out what those black and white dots represent. And it's going to try to do the best it can to, and I'll show you sort of conceptually what it's doing is, if the piece of paper is like this and you rotate it so it's like this, Acrobat is putting an invisible layer on top of that piece of paper of what it thinks the letters are, so that when you look at it, and we're going to search it in a moment, it's going to be searching the words it thinks are above that piece of paper that's invisible to your eye. So we'll go back in here a second, and now we'll do a search. So now what's happening is I want to look for the word pathogen. So I'm going to tell Adobe Acrobat, I'm just going to do Command F, which is find, and I'm going to tell it to look for the word pathogen. So P-A-T-H. And you see, as I start to type, Acrobat is suggesting to me matches that appear in this document. Now you see this is only a 2-page document. If you had medical records of 10,000 pages, it would be doing the same thing. So that's one of the helpful ways to search for words that are contained within records that you have that are typed. This will not work with handwritten text, but if you have text that is typed that's relatively legible, Acrobat does a decent job of converting all this information, these black and white dots, into recognizable text. So now if I click on pathogens, you see it highlights that word because it's found pathogens. Now it's not looking directly at the text, it's sort of this invisible layer above it that has found it. So that's a powerful tool to be able to look for text within documents. So a scenario might be the other side has provided you with discovery responses, and you've got maybe 5 sets of discovery responses that total 100 pages. And you want to be able to search through those discovery responses to try to find either objections or a specific word, whatever it might be, claim of privilege or whatever it is. You can then OCR those, save them as a PDF, and then have Adobe Acrobat do those searches for you. I just showed you this thing called Find. I want to show you a different tool called Search, which appears to be around the same thing, but it's really not. It actually does something differently. So on the Mac, Command F is find. Let's just do find real quick. So here's find. So find is under edit, find. Now, what I'm going to suggest to you is that you use something called advanced search, and I'm going to show you the difference. So let's say you select the word find, or select the tool find, and you have this drop-down menu. I'm going to look for, the word March appears a whole bunch. I'll just use the word March, for example. And here's the problem when you look for the word March. I'm looking for a specific thing, but I have to pop through the entire document to try to find it. And that may take a long time. If you do this advanced search, which is Shift Command F, you're presented with this other kind of search, which I think is more helpful. And I'll show you some of the advantages of it. So let's say, and I'm now going to look for the word March. I'm telling it I want to search in the current document. You can actually search across your hard drive for just this phrase, or you can connect to the network or some other things. But for our purposes, we're going to look just in this document for the word March, and we're going to hit search. And the cool thing is it presents you with this. It's almost like I'll call it a Google-like find. So now you can see the word in context and say, you know, I don't want this I don't want this one, I want this one. And it will automatically take you there. So imagine now you've got, you know, a several hundred-page document. Instead of having to click through find every time let's do a stupid word like the, okay, which appears 150 times. So now you're clicking through trying to find the every single place. It's sort of a pain because find is doing it sequentially. It's finding that word for you sequentially. If we do a new search looking for the word the, at least you can see the information is in context. And then you can say, oh no, this is the one I'm looking for, and take you there. Let's do another quick search because sometimes this may happen. This is a nice tip. One of the tools available to you, if you think about Adobe Acrobat as an app, which is the equivalent of an electronic notebook that allows you to open up the notebook and drop in pages in addition, and then it closes that notebook, and now you've got this PDF, this portable document format. You can now sort of walk around with this electronic notebook of pages. Adobe Acrobat also allows you to do things to those pages, including things like highlight or add various kinds of notes, or put on things like sticky notes. Let's say you've got you want to, here's some of the tools available to you. You can literally highlight, so you can take this and use the highlighter tool, and it highlights things for you. You can put a sticky note, this is, and make a note to yourself, this is important, or whatever it might be. And I'll put down, for example, TTD. I will say post. So we've got this sticky note here that contains a note to yourself about something about this document. Let's now envision you've gone through the other side's documents and you've gone through and highlighted with a highlighter tool or dropped in various kinds of sticky notes. And there are other tools available to you. There's this call out tool, which is sort of cool. If you click on this one, I sort of like this. Let's say you want to do a tool like this, ask about this, whatever it might be. That might be a note to yourself. So let's say you're now, you've envision you've got a document that's been produced by the other side, and you want to remind yourself as you're going through it, things you want to look for in the future, or reminders to you to ask or follow up with the other side about. So that TTD concept, this is important things to do. So you might put a clue in, or a word in there to yourself that reminds you that you want to follow up on it. So now let's do this Command F, and I'm going to type in TTD. We hit return and it doesn't find it. You're like, why the hell is it not finding it? I know it's sitting right there in that comment. So you say, oh, wait, let's use this fancy search tool. Let's type in TTD and hit search, and it's still not finding it. Why is it not finding it when you know the thing is right? It's sitting right here as a comment. You see it's there. So why isn't it finding it? What's going on is this. Adobe Acrobat is searching the document, but you want it to include comments or bookmarks. Now, when you hit search, it should, I put things to do. So it should, that's fascinating. I think normally it would find it. I don't know why oh, there it goes. Okay, I found it right there, the TTD. So it found it right there. And so now it shows that to you in the comments themselves. The reason why I'm pointing that out is you can use on the right side, these various comments will appear on the right side. So you can create a series of reminders for yourself about a document that the other side is giving you about a article that you're reading, a medical journal article, whatever it might be, the other side's memo. And you can create notes to yourself to follow up with, check on this case law, whatever it might be, and then go back and try to find those things using these advanced search features. All right, so let's talk about Bates numbers real quick.
Before you get into that, Justin,
Yep,
this might be
sure.
a good time to bring in our last sponsor.
Oh, yeah,
Great.
yeah. Have at it. Sorry. It's always a good time for a sponsor.
Absolutely. And I'm very excited about this one because it's going to be Cody with Fox-AE, and he loves technology too, Justin. So
I
you
think
guys,
didn't I see him
I'm
in
sure you
San
probably met
Diego
along
just
the
a
way,
couple?
but Cody is going to be very, yeah, you sure did. And by the way, I just want to announce to everybody that Justin's going to be with us in Nashville at our TBI seminar, May 6th through 9th. So if you want to come to Nashville, you can meet him personally and get maybe some one-on-one training, right, Justin?
Yes, and
I
there'll
do
be
know.
somebody, don't forget, and Ginger, you haven't said this yet, but I would encourage people, if you're thinking about going to this, and first of all, you ought to be going to it, make reservations now, because some up and coming star named Taylor somebody is supposed to be there that weekend in concert. So she's already going to be there. So hotel space may be scarce. So use Connectionology's room discount to get the hotel while you can.
It's booking up fast too, guys. That's what I'm afraid of, but I hope everybody can hurry up and get their room. And I believe, do you still have an extra ticket left, Justin?
Yes, my daughter's trying to sell it now. We do. We have
All right.
we have a ticket on the floor.
If there's any takers, reach out to
Section E or
Justin.
F. Yeah, it's one. Yeah, I wasn't going to push it. I can't remember, and I think it's an advanced. I'll get the details to you, Ginger, and then if people are interested.
And what I really like too, Justin, is the fact that you're going to be teaching TBI technology in Nashville. So especially for any of our Florida attorneys who need to fulfill that credit, you guys will be able to get that done and taken care of. We're also going to have an ethics credit that you can take advantage of when you're in Nashville as well. And we have hired a new CLE director who will be helping me take care of all of those applications. So I'm very happy about that. But anyway, I want to get back to what is super, super important. And the fact is that we've got Cody here with us, who's going to tell you guys all about what he specializes in. And we just think the world of you, Cody, and we're glad that you're here today.
Yeah, thanks, Ginger. And Master Kahn. Very good, man. And I always enjoy your presentations. And I've told you this before, but I'll just tell the rest of the group. I actually saw Justin's presentation maybe a year or two ago, and it was about trial presentation and about cognitive overloads and simplifying information to be intuitive, like breaking the patterns. I thought it was so good. I shared it with my entire team and said, hey, watch this by Friday. And it was really good. And so this is really good as well, Justin. But anyway, we are a graphics company. So what we do is we take complex information and we make it simple, and we make it easy to understand, but also invoking emotion. So not only is it engineering and scientifically accurate, but the idea is to invoke emotion to inspire action and to show really what is going on, with your client. So I picked one example, and I picked it because we talk about DTIs. Man, I've been like baptized in DTI stuff here lately, especially with John's presentations and all of the, like the San Diego presentations, right? We've been baptized in it. And a lot of the experts, they show the DTI imaging, which isn't a bad idea. However, I want to show you some technology, since in the spirit of technology, I want to show you some stuff here and kind of some stuff that we're doing to use the DTIs, which look positive, right? They're rainbow colored. And if you ask, I saw that you like the wall, Justin, over there on the top left, you've got a wall poster. Pink Floyd, I love Pink Floyd. And so you ask a Pink Floyd fan, what do they think of when they think of rainbows? It's Dark Side of the Moon. And so, but any way you split it, rainbows are positive. And so if you're really going to try to communicate TBI, are you really wanting to communicate those with rainbows? Something that it doesn't matter who you are, those release dopamines to anyone. And so what we've done here is we've gotten with the neuroradiologist and we're communicating all of that nastiness. That is actual brain damage. And so we've taken the sequencing from the DICOM, from the DTIs, and we've sliced it in three-dimensional imaging that is in perfect harmony with your neuroradiologist. But not only that, though, in the spirit of communicating with respect to, okay, volume of the brain versus volume of damage. Look at that. That looks a lot more extensive than looking at a rainbow picture. And this is one of thousands of ways that you can communicate damages, communicate liability, all sorts of fun stuff. And I love this. I love working with Connectionology, and I want to see y'all in Nashville. That's all I have to say.
I tell you, we're going to have a really good time. You guys have no idea the surprises that I have and John has that are coming up. I'm going to be announcing soon through our email blast. But yeah, I cannot wait to see you. You were so kind. Thank you, Cody. I hope you guys will definitely save his information. He's going to put it in the chat box for you now. But thank you for being here with us, Cody. We'll see you soon. And thanks again for all that you do. Okay.
Hey, thanks. Yep. See ya.
All right, we're going to get back to it, Justin, because I know you still have a lot more to cover while we're still together. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'm watching the time, just like law students who watch the clock. I think we're supposed to be done at 4:30, so I got 15 minutes. So I'm going to try to cover combining PDFs, adding Bates, and I've got an IPEVO. And first, I want to mention John Lemuro's book, Dropping the Digital Anchor. I think it's AAJ publishes it. He's got some great ideas about digital technology in this. And before I forget, there's a cool book called Typography for Lawyers, and there's a second edition by this guy named Matthew Butterick, who is the second edition. He's actually a lawyer. He's in California, but in it, he has thoughts about how lawyers should think about drafting documents to make them look better. You know, you think that's real nerdy stuff, but he's got some really great ideas about not only font selection, but size, spacing, and so on. So I encourage you to, and I think he's got a web page too, so you can look at the web page before you buy the book, but I encourage you to get this book by Matthew Butterick. So let's talk about a couple things with Adobe Acrobat that you might not know about, including combining documents and Bates numbering. Let's share the screen. So with Adobe Acrobat, one of the things you can do is, let's say you've got several PDFs that you need to file with the court or provide to the other side as part of discovery. And you have already named the various PDFs a particular way. So here are these various PDFs that have been done. And so here we got them. Just here's a subpoena, the notice. So let's make this 1.1. So you've got them named a particular way. And I want to combine all these PDFs. Let's say you're either filing a motion, serving me on the other side as discovery response, whatever it is, and you want to combine these PDFs into one PDF. And you think normally that's sort of a pain. Adobe Acrobat allows you to do that very easily. So let me go select my tool. So in Adobe Acrobat, you can go to File, and we're going to create a new file, but not just from a file. We're going to combine files into a single PDF. So I'm going to select that, and Acrobat's going to sort of create this space. And I'm going to take all the various PDFs I have right here, select them all, and drag them over here. So now these documents have been dropped in here. They haven't been combined yet. It's going to give you an opportunity to do a couple of different things. So here's the name of the document. And notice something over here where it says bookmark for file. That's going to be important because what's going to happen is the name of your document is actually going to become a bookmark. I'll call it clicks when you buy those or when you get various kinds of PDF documents that you download online, and they have bookmarks that allow you to jump to different sections of a PDF. This process will actually allow you to I'll call it pre-name the bookmarks that you're going to be using. So let's say, for example, right now it's created this, the name for the bookmark file is depot notice. Let's say I want to, and that's based on the file name. Let's say I want to change it to deposition notice. And same thing with depot subpoena. So you can actually look at it visually or as a, I like the list, but you can actually look at it visually so you can double check on what the various documents are you're going to be combining. So I'm going to go back to the list. To me, it's just easier to see. So I'm going to call this one, I want to modify the name of this bookmark to deposition subpoena. So I've got them in the particular order. Let's say you, for whatever reason, you want to have exhibit 9 up higher. You can actually move it to a different spot. So you click on move up. And so now that particular exhibit will appear at the first spot, should you want to do that. So the idea is that once you drop them in, you can then rearrange the order to how you like it before you combine it. So I'm going to move it back down because I don't want it at the top. And so we've got, I'm just going to do one more thing, skull image. Just so now I've got these various documents. I can look at them visually to confirm that's the one I want to do. And also there's a slider down here. So if you're having difficulty seeing it, you can zoom in and out to see what you're going to be combining and what it looks like. So you can see these are exhibits from a deposition that I'm going to be combining into one PDF. So I hit the combine, and Acrobat that fast automatically took those separate PDFs, these 9 PDFs over here, and turned them into one 45-page PDF. And if I go up and down, you can see here's where they are. But the cool thing is, if you go over here to this bookmark tab, it has automatically named the various bookmarks based on that thing that we dropped in. So that's really cool. You don't have to now go in to the PDF you've just created and individually create bookmarks within the PDF. It automatically takes care of that when you do this combined PDF feature. Does that make sense, Mikayla? As a way to do that?
It does.
Okay, I just want to make sure. But you can see the time savings that has. And so here's another example where we've got, remember we were talking about that rotation tool. Here we've got a PDF which is rotated, in my mind, the wrong way. So we can just select this one page. If we go to this page selection tool, we can see this. Looks like it's right about here. So here's the page. I want it, and we'll zoom in a little bit. So again, all I'm doing is just zooming in on this one particular page, which is right here. And I want to rotate it counterclockwise so that it lines up right. So if I click here, it automatically now fits. So if you've got some PDFs where the pages are off, you can go through and individually appropriately rotate them or orient them for your PDF. So now if I just hit save, Command S, it now is going to ask me where to save it. I'll put it in this example folder I'm using, and you can call it whatever it is, PDF, I'll put depot PDF. All right, so now it is now saved this as the depot PDF. And so now if you send it off to somebody, it will have the bookmarks automatically built in and allow you to jump back and forth between the various pages of the PDF without any difficulty. So that's an example of that. Now, another thing I want to talk about real quick is Bates numbering. Let's say you've got some documents that you want to turn over to the other side and you want to Bates stamp them. That is, put the sequential numeric system on the document to help you keep up with what has been turned over. Again, I don't pretend to remember where all the different tools are in Adobe Acrobat, but I know I want the Bates tool. So if I type in BATES, the tool appears. If I click on it, now I have certain options. And I want to add Bates numbers to this document. So I'm going to click on add. And which file do I want to be Bates numbered? I want this one particular document that I'm using. I click on it and I hit OK. Now, what it's going to do is present me with certain options that I have to add Bates numbers to the document. So one of the things that's going to happen is I'm going to have the ability to choose where I want the Bates numbers to appear, whether it's on the top, bottom, middle, left, right, or in what colors. Why it's not. That's great. This is in real time. So anybody who has crashes happening in real time, that's what's going on. I don't know why, but let's see. I want to force quit Acrobat. I don't know why it's hanging. Let's just force quit it. It's not responding for some reason. Let's try it again. Force quit, think. All right, so now I'm going to open up that. Let's say, I think I just put it in here. Hopefully that makes y'all, some of y'all feel better that stuff like this happens. So let's just try it again. We'll open up Adobe Acrobat. I want to say, let's just, if I open up file, I want to do create. PDF from multiple pages, combine into multiple. I hit add files, and I'm going to do this with, well, here it's sitting right here. I don't know why. Let's just go over here. I'm just going to pick, this time I'll pick them all, hit add files. So now here's the same process. For whatever reason, I want to get rid of a couple of these in case it's causing a problem. I want to hit delete. So now I'm just going to combine these 6. So hit combine. Now we're back to where we were a second ago. So here are these various documents with the bookmarks. So I want to I'm going to Bates number it. So I'm going to go to the tool Bates, and that's going to allow me to now add to it. Maybe it doesn't crash again. I want to add to this document, hit OK, and it should open it up. I don't know why it's not. I can't figure out why. I don't know why it's not working. All right. Well, oh wait, here it goes. Loading this response. Here it goes. Finally. I don't know why it's taking so long. All right. So what you're looking at is it brings up this window for you to. Let me scoot this over a little bit. Let me hit cancel a second. It allows you to now, if you see what this little yellow thing is right here and here. What it's showing you is this is, if you assume this is the top of this document right here, and this is the bottom of this document right here. That's what it's showing you. So the same orientation for these little boxes relates to the document. Let's say you want to add a Bates number to the center bottom of every page. You would then put in right here, you want to insert a Bates number or insert a date. Let's say for our purposes, we want to put in a Bates number. So if we click on that, how many digits do you want? So it'll be zeros, depending on the size of your file. Let's say you only want it to be, let's say you want it to be 6 digits, and you want the prefix to be, I'll put plaintiff's production, whatever it is. Or you can put the name of the file, plaintiff's production. Let's call it Smith Production. So the name of the particular client. Hit OK. And now what it's showing you is what that will look like. Now, to me, that's a little hard to see between the N and the 0. So if you go up here, and we hit space, we can modify things to have it appear slightly differently. So production, normally that's Bates number. Let's just, for right now, let's just use this. I don't know. Normally you can insert, let's try it again. Let's do this. I know what, it inserts Bates number. So I'll hit the prefix Smith Production, and I'm going to hit a space. So now I hit OK. So now it's going to put the space in between. So I think that looks better by hitting this production right here. It's got the space. Let's say for whatever reason I want to have more space. If I click right here, it will do it. So this now has Smith Production with the Bates number 1, and that's where it's going to appear at the bottom of this particular document. One of the problems that you may have is sometimes the documents that you have text flow closer to the bottom. That is, there's not always this empty space at the bottom. The text on the page may go further, and that can cause you a problem. So one of the things that you can do is, if you go to page number and date formats, you can change these all these different kinds of settings. I want to point this out real quick. Let's say you have already turned over pages 1 through 50, and now you're doing a supplemental production, and you want it to start off with 51. This is where you would change this number, so it would automatically start at 51 instead of 50. So now that the production would start off with that page, we're going to go to under appearance options. You see where it says shrink document to avoid overwriting the document's text and graphics. If you click on that, Acrobat will automatically squish the text that appears around the document so that the Bates number will automatically fit and not overwrite on top of the text. Sometimes if you're dealing with appellate briefs, that might be an issue when you're adding these Bates numbers. or if you're producing documents that have text that goes all the way to the bottom. So if you go to Appearance Options and hit Shrink Document to avoid overwriting, and you hit OK, and you hit OK again, Acrobat will automatically now insert these Bates numbers in here. And here's this appearing right here. So we've got all these page numbers automatically appearing at the bottom of each page of the PDF, and you're set. Let's say you want to remove, you've created a PDF and you're like, I didn't want the Bates numbers there. I need to clear them out. You can actually, using Adobe Acrobat, you go into Bates numbering and you can remove Bates numbering. So it'll go through, and now you see just as fast, all those Bates numbers are gone from your document. I want to do one more thing and then we'll end probably. I want to hit Bates numbering. There are other things you can do. When you add, you can do all kinds of tweaking. So not only can you put, I want to insert the Bates number. I'll do the prefix of Smith Production. I hit space, hit OK. You can also, you see where you've got these color choices. Let's say you want the Bates number to be a little larger so it's easier to read. You can choose that. Let's say you want it to be red. You can choose that tool. So now when you produce it, at the bottom in a different color, these Bates numbers will appear. So I just wanted to show that to you real quick. And we can go to the Appearance Options, and we'll shrink the document, hit OK, and then we hit OK. And now Acrobat has automatically created the Bates numbers in that sequential order to this document. And it's, to the extent needed, any of the pages have been shrunk to allow the Bates number to fit without any problems. So that's Bates numbering. I'm going to make sure I cover that. If there are any questions, I'm very aware of time. And so I wanted to stop unless there are any questions.
Yeah, feel free. If you need to take a little extra time, we're good on our end. But I wanted to tell you that there was a question about wondering, how do you make the Bates numbering bold-faced?
Okay.
Do you think you could show us that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's what I was just sort of walking through, but let me see if I can make it clearer. Make sure my screen, I gotta find this.
And if anybody has any other questions, feel free to get
Ask
those
away.
in now for us.
Part of it. So again, what I'll do is so the question was, how do you make this Bates number bolder? Let me put in this annotation tool so you can see. All right, so how do you make this bolder or modify it? It's the same thing I did with the color selection. So I'm going to go to Find Tools. I'm going to go to Bates. I'm just going to go to Bates numbering. Now I'm going to remove it. So it's automatically removed all the Bates numbering from this document. So again, now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add Bates numbering. So I'll type in Bates, click on this, and we'll hit Add. Now what you're going to select the document you're going to work with. And what this allows you to do is, and you could also save certain kinds of settings for that person who's asking about bold. You can save, once you have it the way you like, you can save that particular setting so you don't have to go back through and modify it. So let's walk through that. Let's say you want to have Arial font, let's just bold. So you can select bold, which has to be a font right there. Let's say you want it to be 12. Let's just put in something here first. Bates numbers, Let's hit production, hit space, OK. So here you see where it's appearing. As I modify this right here, you can see in real time what it will look like. If you don't want it to appear for whatever reason at the bottom center of the document, you can put it at the top. And so now it will appear at the top of the document, wherever you want it to appear. These 6 sort of boxes represent the different part of the document where you want that to appear. So I'm just going to Control X and paste. If you want it to appear on the bottom right, it'll appear on the bottom right side of the document, if that's where you want it to appear.
And
So
Justin,
again,
to change that, do you have to delete and redo it, or can you change it once it's there?
I think you're going to have to, because it's basically stamping it on there, I think you're going to have to delete it and redo it. I don't know if a way to modify it once it's sort of imprinted on there, but you saw how I can remove it and then add it back fairly easily. So let's say, as an example, you always want to do something in blue, 18-point font, Arial bold in the bottom right, and you also want to have that appearance shrink the document automatically. So that's just the format you always want to use. Once you've got it set up the way you want it to be, you can hit Save Settings, and you can save settings as production blue or whatever it might be, whatever you want to call it. So now in the future, when you want to pull up those settings, they're automatically available to you. You can have different ones, red. Let's say you've got something that's confidential. Let's say you want to produce something that's confidential. pursuant to protective order. But you want this confidential. I don't know if you can. I wonder if you can modify just this or not. I don't know if you can or not. Oh, it does. It looks like it does the whole thing. It doesn't look like I can pick and choose. So let's say you want to have something confidential with the production Bates number. That's not the way you can do it. So we can save these settings as the confidential stamp. Hit OK. So now you can choose between blue or confidential. So now you've got that available to you in the future to not have to play around with all the various settings. So I hit OK, and it automatically drops that into the PDF that way. So does that help somebody? I can't see if there's more questions. Did that help? I'm trying to look at, could you change or edit? I think I did that.
That was super helpful. And there was somebody who asked if you have an opinion on Adobe versus Fox-it PDF.
All right, I'm not familiar with Fox-it PDF. I use Adobe all the time. The only thing I would also suggest is, I don't know if we got time, I'll show an IPvo. I actually have a machine. You saw the benefits of doing that OCR feature. One of the things that you have to be aware of, it's going to burn up processor time depending on how large your document is when you OCR a document. So let's say you're sitting, now this is not as much of a problem as it used to be, 20 years ago, but you have to assume while, let's say you've got a 5,000 page PDF and you want to OCR it, you can tell Adobe Acrobat to start that process, but it may take an hour or more. While that is taking place, you can't use Adobe Acrobat, so you have to be using some other app. A way around it, and for the kind of cases I do, it's worth it. I have a separate device. It's a Xerox big, I can't remember, it's like $25,000 basically copy machine. And from it, it will scan in, I think it'll hold up to 150 to 175 pages at a time. I could drop it in, hit a button, and it automatically scans in at like, I think 70 pages a minute, and OCR those documents. It basically spits out an OCR'd PDF. So, and I send it to either a particular machine in our office, or I can email it or put it on the server. And now I'm not burning up the processor time of a particular computer. And I've got this device that automatically spits out OCR'd PDFs. And so it saves time and effort, if that makes sense. That's one thing I do. So going back to the question about Fox-it, somebody says it's much less expensive. It may be a great product. It's just, I'm not familiar with it, and I don't know if it's PC only or not. But there are different kinds of PDF applications that allow you to manipulate PDFs, including having various what are called OCR engines. Depending on which one you get, the optical character recognition may vary in its ability to correctly interpret words. I would never rely on it 100%. If I was in the middle of trial and I had Acrobat OCR something, I wouldn't bet my life that it had done it properly. But overall, it's pretty good to try to find things pretty quickly. Somebody's commenting they don't miss Michael Goldberg's, doesn't miss Adobe Acrobat. I don't want to say whatever, but that's I get it. That you get used to certain apps, and I understand that. I just wanted to show conceptually how to do certain things, at least with Adobe Acrobat, that you can think about. And this other Fox that may have some of these tools available to you, but I wanted to show lawyers or staff how you can use some kind of PDF app to manipulate PDFs, rotate the pages, crop them, add Bates numbers, and OCR them as some of the tools that are available, and commenting as some of the tools that are available to you.
Now, I think this is great. And I'm actually so happy that we recorded this webinar today, Justin, so that way everybody can have a chance to refer back on it. And if you go to our Connectionology YouTube channel, you can watch some of Justin's previous technology webinars that he's done, which are just incredible. I think, Justin, I call you whenever I have questions about technology, whether it's a brand new iPhone that came out, everything. So I tell you, I appreciate that. The only thing I'm waiting on is for you to do a magic trick one day. Somehow make it
This is
work.
the original iPhone box. Somebody just bought one of these for $60-something thousand, although it was wrapped in the saran wrap stuff, but this isn't that. But I still have the old iPhone in the original. There's the original one. So I like technology. So no, it's not worth $65,000. I don't think. But
now I wish I saved mine or my little beeper.
Yeah.
Remember the beepers?
What's a beeper?
All right, I'm gonna bring in Ted real quick because I want him to be able to have the opportunity to announce today's grand winner, the lucky winner. You know, I literally almost forgot that tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, but we did not want to miss the chance to celebrate and see who the winner is going to be today.
How'd you forget that?
I don't
How'd you
know. I
forget?
never forget either, but somehow, yeah, I've been working a lot. But we got a lot of great things coming up again, as I said, with Connectionology. Ted,
And
who
before
is
Ted gets
today's
away,
lucky
that's
winner?
yeah, he can give
Oh.
away. But if anybody has any questions, just email me and I'll see if I can answer the questions. Or if you have questions or ideas for future sort of tech talks, there's all kinds of stuff to talk about, but I don't know what people don't know or have questions about. So there's no stupid question. I don't pretend to know all the answers, but I can try to find them. And you just saw in real time, I don't know all the answers, but I can figure it out. And that's what you have to get comfortable with the technology. Anyway, sorry, Ted, I was just delaying out, stretching out before the coffee giveaway.
And I wanted
No, I think that's great.
I just found this digging through my boxes as well, Justin. So I've got an ancient one too. I was going to plug it in later on today to see if it does something.
Yeah, that's
They
the one with
last
the
forever.
Scroll
button.
through it.
That might be the one
Yeah.
with the they call it the gate, not Applegate, the antenna gate. That looks like one from about 4 or 7, somewhere around there, where they had the
Yes.
antenna gate problem.
Yeah, so it's an old one. But I'm excited to announce today's winner of some fantastic coffee is Philip Baca out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So congratulations on some great, great, great coffee.
Awesome. Congratulations, Philip. Gosh, every time I think of Albuquerque, I think of all of our Santa Fe seminars that we used to do out there. And hopefully we'll come back one day. We went to Jackson Hole last year, but we love Albuquerque, love Santa Fe. But congratulations to Philip for being today's lucky winner. And we hope that you enjoy the coffee. And who knows, maybe you could share it with everybody in your firm, or you could take it home and enjoy it yourself.
Hide it.
But Ted, I know we cannot thank you enough, Ted, for doing these really great giveaways for everybody. And there are more chances to win next week. Next Tuesday, we've got our Camp Lejeune webinar coming up, and I've got more that I need to add for this month. I'm just trying to get caught up, but you guys, lots of great webinars. If you know anybody who'd like to speak, have them reach out to me and we will get that all set up. But don't forget all of our great seminars coming up. Come out and meet Justin, Mikayla, Ted. I think we're all going to be there.
I'll have to bring lots of coffee to the conference.
Absolutely. And then I wanted to tell everybody too, let me see, I am going to send you after this webinar a copy of everybody's contact information. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick for you. And then that way you can stay in touch with Justin, Mikayla, and all of our great partners over at HMR, OnPoint, and Fox-AE. Thank you so much for supporting them, because in return, it's able to support us here at Connectionology, so we can continue doing all this for you. But Justin,
Thank you for putting together these talks. They're always interesting and helpful. So I really appreciate Connectionology and John and you for taking the time to put together all these speakers. It really helps everyone.
Oh, absolutely. I can't even imagine what 2020 would have been like if we didn't have a way to somehow stay connected. So these webinars have been a lot of fun. You know, I know, Ted, when we don't do them, we actually miss them, don't we?
Yes, we
But
do.
in
Does
fact,
he
in
do
January
TED
when I was
Talks?
working on getting,
I missed out on the
Good idea.
trademark for that.
he's well on his way. Right, Ted?
Definitely.
All right, guys. Justin, thank you so much for your time today. We love working with you. If you weren't busy doing trial after trial, we would have you be doing these every single month. So we look forward to having you back, because we want to hear more of your knowledge. And again, I hope everybody will look at the recording of this and replay it and share it with all of your colleagues, because it's very valuable. And Mikayla, again, it's a joy to have you with us too. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Mikayla.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. Keep an eye out for my emails, and then have a great weekend. We'll see you next week on another
Happy
webinar
St. Patty's
on
Day.
Tuesday.
Yes,
Happy
bye
St. Patty's Day
everyone.
tomorrow.
Get a green beer.
Bye, guys.
See ya.